You're watching Nevada Business Chronicles. Take a journey with us to see the innovative businesses that put Nevada on the business map. Connecting you with the businesses, events, and organizations that bring innovation and prosperity to the Nevada area, please welcome your host, Mitch Burney.
Today, I'm honored to say that we have a very, very special guest. This is Heather Goulding with Susan G. Komen, Nevada. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Mitch.
A lot of people have heard of Susan G. Komen, but I think they might not fully understand the organization and the divisions of it. So if you could start with Susan G. Komen, where it got its start, and a little bit about the history of the foundation.
Susan G. Komen is a national and really an international organization that was born from a promise between two sisters, Susie Komen, or Susan G. Komen, and Nancy Brinker, her sister. Susie was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was quite young, and Nancy promised her sister Susie that she would do everything in her power to bring an end to breast cancer so that other people wouldn't suffer that same fate. It was really a promise born on her sister's deathbed, and an organization that started out as a shoebox filled with index cards. And that organization has grown into an international organization that is the largest non-governmental, non-profit funder of breast cancer research. That's one arm of what Susan G. Komen does. And then there are about 100 local organizations that provide funding for local breast cancer services and provide some funding to research. So as Susan G. Komen, Nevada, our mission is to reduce breast cancer mortality in Nevada. And we do that in two different ways. One is right here immediately in our community, we provide funding for service of breast cancer screening, diagnostic, and treatment services to our neighbors, to the folks that live down the street, to the woman that's in the grocery store line with you. We're providing services to make sure that women don't have a financial barrier to early diagnosis. But we also know that it's critical that we're advancing treatments and screening technologies and the understanding of how breast cancer develops and works. So if we're going to make advances in long-term treatments for breast cancer to truly reduce breast cancer mortality, we have to invest in research. But right here locally, we also need to provide services to the local women. So Komen is a large organization that has a local footprint right here. And as Komen, Nevada, our focus is on women here in our state and making sure that we're reducing the number of breast cancer deaths in our community.
I think it's really important for people to appreciate the fact that the vast majority of the money that you raise here in Nevada stays in Nevada to support the women with breast cancer in Nevada. Let's talk a little bit about your upcoming event, your annual Race for the Cure.
This will be our 20th Reno Race for the Cure. And the money that we raise at the Race for the Cure, 75% of those funds are going to stay here in Nevada. And the vast majority of that money goes to providing breast cancer screening, diagnostic, and treatment services for women in Nevada who otherwise wouldn't have access to these critical life-saving services. 25% of the funds we raise are pooled with all the other Race for the Cures that happen all around the world, and that's what fuels Komen's research mission.
I think it's really important for people to understand the research side of Susan G. Komen because we've had advancements, but we're still far from curing breast cancer.
Over 41,000 Americans are still losing their lives to breast cancer every year. So we need to do more and we need to do better. And part of that is investing in research to better treatments, better screening technologies. Since 1989, we've reduced the breast cancer mortality in the United States by 39%. So we're doing better. And part of that is because of research, because of breast cancer research. And we need to continue doing that if we're going to reach Komen's bold goal of reducing breast cancer mortality by 50% by the year 2026. And Komen has been integral in all of the most significant breakthroughs in breast cancer research in the last 30 years. Let me give you an example of what that means for an individual woman. A friend of mine was diagnosed with breast cancer. And had she been diagnosed 30 years ago, she probably would have been treated with chemotherapy and radiation and surgery. But now we know that breast cancer isn't one thing. there are lots of different kinds of breast cancer. And so there are targeted therapies. So when somebody is diagnosed with breast cancer, the docs find out exactly what kind of tumor they have. And then you can target the therapies and target the treatments. So my friend that was diagnosed didn't need chemotherapy and radiation, and in fact, if she had had those treatments, it would have increased her risk of mortality instead of decreasing it. We didn't know that 25 years ago. Instead of just throwing everything at a patient that has breast cancer, now we're better and smarter and more effective at treating breast cancer. And we wouldn't be there if we weren't investing money in breast cancer research. Our overall mission is to reduce breast cancer mortality. So we won't spend money on something if it's not reducing breast cancer mortality. And there are really two parts of that. There's this one big part, which is research. And so all of the local organizations, Susan G. Komen, Nevada, Susan G. Komen, Iowa, Susan G. Komen, Italy, all of these organizations, we put 25% of our money into research so that we can create these better treatments and screening technologies.
I don't want people to get confused that 25% just goes somewhere else. That goes to research and development that directly reflects in the treatment and screening in our own community. You said that the purpose of every dollar is to reduce breast cancer mortality. The other 75%, how does that save lives in Nevada?
The 75% of Komen dollars that stays here in the state is used for community health programs. Now those community health programs, we're partnering with organizations that are on the front line of patient care. Organizations like Renown and Community Health Alliance and Northern Nevada Hopes and the Mammovan and Access to Healthcare and Reno Cancer Foundation. These organizations have patients coming in and the patient might say, I've never had a mammogram and I need one, or a woman that's had an abnormal mammogram and needs a needle biopsy, and the patient might say to the doctor, great, I understand that I need to go get more care, but I can't afford it. And the doc can say, don't worry, there are Komen funds here that are available. You go get the needle biopsy and you pay attention to your health. The Komen dollars that the community has raised to make sure that you can get care is right here, and we're going to pay for that. So what we do is we partner with these healthcare organizations, and what we do is once a year we let them know what we know are the highest priorities. We look at the populations that are at the highest risk of breast cancer mortality. We evaluate the programs that they ask for funding for, and we actually rank them. We have a panel of experts in the community that rank all those applications and identify how can that money be best used to prevent breast cancer mortality. It's a rigorous process of evaluating the efficiency and effectiveness of programs. So then we put those dollars, and in my mind I think of these as pink Komen buckets of money that are sitting over at Northern Nevada Hopes or at Renown. Of course, they're not literally pink buckets, it's an account. So that when a woman comes in and she can't afford care, that the dollars are there to pay for it. And let me tell you what a typical person is that comes in and gets that care. There are a couple categories of patients. There are a couple kinds of situations where people would typically access Komen dollars. One would be if you're uninsured. It's not atypical that I get a phone call in the office and somebody will say, I've got a lump on my breast and I'm scared, and my mom died of breast cancer and I know that I need help, but I don't know what to do. I literally get phone calls like this. But the woman doesn't have $150 in her pocket to pay for a mammogram. So we can say, don't worry, go to one of our partners and we'll make sure that they have the information on how to contact them and get set up for an appointment. The other situation that we often provide Komen funding for folks is when they hit their deductible. So let's say you go and you get a screening mammogram, there's something not quite right. You've gone from a screening test, which is often covered by insurance, to a diagnostic test, which isn't. And you need that money out of your pocket to pay for it, and if you don't, you can't afford your deductible, the Komen dollars are there for you. So again, there are a couple categories that we pay for, is when somebody isn't insured, which it's a surprising number of people still don't have health insurance, and two, you have insurance, but you have to cover your deductible. Now, the way that we structure things is that we know that the women that access Komen funding to pay for those services often would not have access to this care without those Komen dollars. One of the things that makes Komen really effective at providing services is that we're not a governmental agency, we're not an insurance company, so we don't have those same constraints. So Komen is kind of a catch-all, that if a woman is in need, we make sure that they get service. We don't have those other parameters that restrict the spending. So we make sure that if a woman needs service, she gets service.
Not only are you free of the bureaucratic red tape, but you also have negotiated some programs where you can maximize the value of every single dollar.
What I want people to understand is that we leverage every dollar we raise in Nevada to make sure we get the maximum amount of breast cancer services to folks right here in Nevada as we possibly can. We work with a whole network of providers who know how to get the most care out of the dollars that our community members so generously take their time and talent to raise. We appreciate the value of all of that effort, and we know that what folks that are raising money for Komen want is to make sure that it is really providing the maximum amount of service possible.
What can we do right here in Northern Nevada to have the most immediate impact on breast cancer mortality?
Mitch, I want to tell you something that keeps me awake at night. Experts estimate that 30% of women that die of breast cancer are dying needlessly because it's not about the treatment not working, it's because they don't have access to health care. That if we could make sure that all women got access to breast cancer services, screening, diagnostic, and treatment services, that 40,000 women that are dying in the United States every year could be reduced by 30%. Here's why it keeps me awake at night, for two reasons. One is that I'm horrified by that we need to do better. The positive part of that is it gives me hope because I know that even without better treatments, we could work to save those 30% of lives that are being lost to breast cancer. So why do we get out here and do crazy things like wear pink tutus and run around in circles and raise money? It's because right now we can have an immediate impact and save lives by just making sure that people didn't have financial barriers to care. So that's what we're doing here in Nevada. In Nevada, we are really trying to attack that 30% of breast cancer mortality that is needless. It's a systematic problem. We can do something about that today. You and I can. People that live here in Reno can help us do something about that. And then the other 70% of breast cancer mortality, we need to invest in research to really have an impact on that amount, on those deaths. We need both sides of the equation.
I've been seeing this campaign, More Than Pink. What is that?
Pink is a great color and it represents breast cancer, and over the last 30 years, Susan G. Komen has done an awful lot to use the color pink to make people aware of breast cancer. But if we're going to save 40,000 lives a year, we need to do a lot more than just make people aware. More Than Pink means we need to go beyond awareness. We need to be providing services in our community. We need to be fueling research. We need to take action. We need to be advocates at legislative sessions. We need to do way more than just wear pink socks and pink tutus and put pink bows in our hair. People are pretty aware of breast cancer, so we need to do a lot more. Komen is more than pink. Komen is about action in the community.
Very exciting. We're standing where the 2018 Race for the Cure will begin.
Absolutely. We're right here at the Believe sculpture. This is where we're going to start and finish the 20th Reno Race for the Cure on October 14th. But I want to tell you, Mitch, that the day of the race is really a celebration of the fundraising that the community has done that leads up to the race. Because it's the fundraising that allows us to provide the services in the community that we've been talking about and to fuel the research that we've been talking about. So on race day, this is going to be a sea of pink. It's going to be tears and laughter, people embracing survivors. It's going to be people rallying for us to say, we believe in a world without breast cancer. We believe that we can support our community, that no woman that's diagnosed with breast cancer needs to travel that journey alone. And if you don't have $150 in your pocket to pay for a diagnostic test, we've got you covered. We've got your back.
Let's talk about the 2018 Race for the Cure. Businesses, organizations, individuals who want to come out and participate in the event. Let's start with the individuals. How do they get involved?
Well, you can register for the race by going to komennevada.org/Reno Race, but just Google it. Just Google Reno Race for the Cure, and it'll get you to the registration page. So you can register now. Register now so you've got time to do some fundraising before the race, because the race is really a celebration of successful fundraising.
I want to encourage people to go a little bit farther this year. Nevada Business Chronicles recently became the media partner for...
And we're so excited about that.
I could not be more excited about that either. But we became the media partner for Reno Race for the Cure in 2018, and we're going to challenge our community to up that just a little bit. The race participants that are spending $35 to come out for the race, they should ask everybody they know for a check for Susan G. Komen.
Yep.
$50, $100, $500, and be okay with the fact that not everybody has to say yes, but even if just a few do, and we have 2,000-3,000 race participants, we can make, as a community, a ginormous impact.
Huge.
Just with that little effort, extra effort.
Absolutely. So do you know the #1 reason why people contribute to a cause?
No.
It's because someone asked them.
Makes
That is
sense.
so simple. And if somebody doesn't make a contribution, it's no big deal. But if you don't ask, no one's gonna give. So I'll tell you what I do. I have my secret weapon is that I send out about 450 emails, one email message to about 450 people. And I tell them that I am raising money for breast cancer in my community. And for the last 3 years in a row, I've raised $1,000 from that one email in 24 hours.
Wow.
That's easy because here's the thing. 1 in 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer.
Unbelievable.
That means when you reach out to your family and friends and ask them if they want to help you in this journey on the fight against breast cancer, many of the people that are in your social network, they have been touched by breast cancer. The thing that always surprises me is when I ask people if they'll help me and contribute to my campaign, I'm always surprised by how many of them say, "Thank you for asking me," because they want an opportunity to help. So we are asking folks in the community, organizations, corporate partners, if they will join us, if they will start a team. So people register for the race and they gather up some friends and they start a team. And then it's pretty fun because the different teams have some rivalry going. So Panasonic is one of our big sponsors this year, and there are all these different teams of folks at Panasonic, and they're trying to be the biggest fundraiser within that corporation. It's fun and it's a celebration of doing good.
So there's community partners as well, as far as organizations that can come out and be sponsors of the event.
Right. So we've got a number of corporate partners that provide either a cash or an in-kind donation to the event and to the cause. We are so grateful for all of those partners. We couldn't put this event on without their support. And those partners then really have a huge impact on the financial success of our event. Our goal this year is to raise $250,000 so that we can put that money into our community health partners and research.
You heard it. $250,000, our community can come together and make that happen.
Absolutely.
For the right cause. And I really want to make sure people kind of reflect now, because they know a little bit more about Susan G. Komen, Nevada, and that the dollars here are really making a difference in Nevada on so many different levels. And I think that's important for people to understand, that they want to support their own community. And $250,000 is going to go to support their own community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it's dollars earmarked just for the community or national research that affects our community, it all still makes a difference right here in Northern Nevada.
It absolutely does. Hey Mitch, can I introduce you to some of our community partners sometime so we can show the folks in our community where those dollars go and who's on the front line?
I would love to, and I think our community would also enjoy doing that.
The folks that we work with have the biggest hearts, and they have a huge commitment to making sure that people get the health care they need. And I would love to introduce you to Beto and Isabel and Maria, who are all folks that are on the front line, so that when there's a patient that comes in and says, "I've got this lump on my breast, but I can't pay for the needle biopsy," These are the care providers that have that pink bucket of Komen money to pay for the needle biopsy, and the stories that they can tell and the commitment that they have to the men and women in our community that are facing breast cancer, it's just phenomenal.
You don't have to wait for the race to make the donation. You can go to komennevada.org/Reno Race and make a donation today.
And help us get to $250,000.
That's Heather Golding, Komen, Nevada. Thank you so much, not only for joining us, but for what you do and what you give of yourself to help women in our community.
Mitch, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your helping us tell our story and how folks in the community can help us save lives here. Thank you so much.
Incredible
and I hope we're
cause.
gonna see you at the race, right?
I'll be there, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank
Great
you so
cause,
much.
great
Thank you.
organization.
For more information on this guest or to see this show in its entirety, visit nvbusinesschronicles.com. While you're there, you can watch all of our past shows on the Chronicles page and stay connected with us by following us on our social media. Now more from Nevada Business Chronicles.
Today we're visiting one of our local boutiques with Monique and Eric Barron with the Neon Dragonfly Eclectic, not Electric,
Right,
boutique.
eclectic. Yeah. The name on the awning outside is the Neon Dragonfly Eclectic Boutique, but it does kind of look like electric, and people drive by and see all the lamps in the window, and that kind of sticks in their brain. And we do have lamps. We have a lot of lamps.
Very cool eclectic lamps.
Eclectic.
It's important that we all feel comfortable in what we wear. There's a couple things that we need. It's food, clothing, and shelter. It is really important for us to recognize and honor women in all their beauty, shape, size. I will never compromise on quality. We do a lot of fair trade. We try to buy from conscious companies. I've had one of these mugs for, at least 10 years.
They're all inlaid and there's just really a great feel. What are these
Yeah.
bottles about? They're beautiful.
These are awesome. This is a local friend of mine who has these etched here in Reno. And it's a water bottle or whatever, but usually people use these for waters. And it's just a positive, the chakra colors, but it puts positive energy into your water.
Maybe there's a little truth to the electric boutique.
Really, Captain Obvious? Actually, we do. We have a lot of diverse lighting here. We have some that are vintage, some that are modern, very beautiful and pretty and feminine, and some that are more like, masculine. So it's quite a big array of different kinds of lighting. We've used ballet bars all around the store. So these bars here are holding all these lamps and these scarves. We have another ballet bar that we're using for that as well. And these ballet bars are really old, and there's a lot of energy behind it, and it's kind of cool to repurpose that sort of thing.
We're going to get to see some beautiful women wearing your beautiful clothes today.
Yes, we are. We're going to see some amazing outfits on some beautiful women.
I now understand the eclectic in the Neon Dragonfly Eclectic Boutique. You have an eclectic assortment of gifts. This is incredible stuff.
We do. We have a lot of interesting, unique lines that we carry.
I have never seen a card.
A 3D pop-up card, birthday cards, shower cards. There's all kinds of different themes, but they're all basically the same.
And they spin.
Yes, and they spin, and they're super cute. They're called pirouettes, so that's why they spin. Flying wish paper, really fun. Thin sheets of rice paper. You write on the sheet, make your wish, light it, and it just burns up like in thin air, and your wish hopefully will come true.
This is a really special line.
Sontoro, yes, very, very interesting artwork. It's very different. It's made in London, and along with those pirouette cards, the pop-up cards, which drew me to the line in the first place. When I saw that, I was like, oh, these are amazing, cute little round pop-up birthday cards, whatever kind of cards.
What are these?
These are awesome. These are all cast iron bottle openers. So that's the bison, the bulldog, very funny, the ass.
So you can
grab
say,
my ass.
grab my ass and open me a beer.
And open me a beer, right?
I love it. Somebody's going to be rushing down to get that one, I guarantee
Yeah, I love this thing. Very, very cool. And they feel good. They're heavy. They're not,
solid.
they're really nice and solid.
Great selection of candles and soaps and just great gifts.
Yes.
What are these?
This is an amazing line made in Truckee, California. They name all their candles after different kinds of wines. Sangria, Mimosa, Merlot, Chardonnay, Pinot.
Huge seller.
Huge seller, really nice. They donate portion of their proceeds to animal shelters and rescue groups.
One of the other things I'm sure is going to bring a lot of women down here, jewelry. Oh, and more jewelry.
Yeah. Should we talk about the jewelry?
Let's talk about jewelry.
So jewelry, yes, I love jewelry, and we do have a nice selection of all kinds of different, beautiful, fine sterling and gemstone jewelry. We have some sort of playful kind of costumes sort of jewelry, but a lot of like really neat pieces.
One of the things I'm present to is, like you said before, everything is the highest quality. This is just nicer than you see at other places. And again, for whether it's a gift to yourself or a gift for somebody else, definitely top shopping list place to go.
Most definitely, yeah. There's some really neat pieces. These are really interesting. My friend Crystalline, she makes these out of actual orchids. So this picture, like this orchid, corresponds to the piece that she made it, like the actual flower that it used to be. I'm not sure how the process works, but then what is left with is the flower goes away, and then the cast of the metal is left where the flower was. So it's pretty awesome.
I've had such a wonderful time at the Neon Dragonfly Eclectic Boutique. For those people who have driven down the street all this time thinking it said Electric Boutique. And you can find them at 214 California Avenue, adjacent to the Nevada Museum of Art. Find them on the internet at theneondragonfly.com or give them a call at 775-737-9780. Thanks again so much for having me.
Yes, likewise, Mitch.
For more information on this guest or to see this show in its entirety, visit nvbusinesschronicles.com. While you're there, you can watch all of our past shows on the Chronicles page and stay connected with us by following us on our social media. For information on becoming a guest on our show, contact us at info@nvbusinesschronicles.com. We hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week at the same time for more from Nevada Business Chronicles.